I'm in Max. You are listening to Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. I'm in Max. Pursuing the RPG hobby with reckless abandon.
Can you hear me? Sure.
Hello. Yeah, totally yours. Hi guys. So this is actually the first episode of Happy Jack's Hot Seat that we've had in a while, long time. We're here at the actual Happy Jack studio tonight. Usually, now that we've started back up Hot Seat, I will be interviewing people from my workshop. But Stu doesn't like this. So we're here tonight. So yes, I'm here tonight with Stu, master of the Happy Jack's studio and all things. He looks super creepy when he makes that face. This is an interview show where I ask questions that people have posted on the forum and also questions that people post in the chat. Suzy's not allowed to look at the chat. So this is the forum. So if you have questions, please type question in caps so that while people are discussing things and flying by, it's easier for me to notice. So let's get started. Who are you and what makes you famous?
My name is Stu, and I think to be famous.
I knew this was a bad idea. This whole shoot ever. I know.
I started Happy Jack's RPG Podcast in 2009.
Yeah.
And
A long time ago now.
it's now bigger than it was then.
A lot bigger.
More listeners and more people involved, thank God.
Yeah.
And I also am a co-founder and director of Box Bloggers. And Flip Fairs in California. And
There's bad reverb on the sound. How do I fix that?
how much bad reverb? Let me hear it.
I don't know. I'm not hearing it on my thing.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. The mic seemed really. Did you turn the headphones down?
I didn't touch anything.
This mic's not on.
Did I turn the wrong mics?
No. 1 2 3. Wait.
You told me the wrong mics.
It might be 3 and 5.
Testing. Is that better?
Can you hear this?
That might sound better. No, I'm not hearing that.
No.
That would be, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that should be 4.
Turn them up.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Is that better?
It should be.
Still reverb? Still reverb?
No, what they were hearing is they were hearing me going through your mic and hearing a lot of reverb. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm using reverb on it.
Okay, we'll see if it's better. So let us know in a minute when you catch up. Not better. They're saying not better.
We'll give them.
That's definitely you.
Yeah. Just show the OBS and you see the bounce on the screen. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Talk.
Talking.
Oh, you know what? You got two channels.
Oh, that's what it is.
Mute one of them.
This one, yeah.
Or just mute it.
Yeah. I will do that.
It's still there. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
That should fix it.
There, okay.
Because there's probably a latency between those two
Those
channels.
two channels, got it. That's why we weren't hearing it. Awesome.
So
you started Happy Jacks in 2009?
2009.
What year did you start the Foxy Bloggers?
93, I think.
Okay.
I think our first rehearsal was either in December 93 or maybe 92. I don't remember. It's a long time ago.
Yeah, that is a long time.
And the only thing that I could possibly be considered actually remotely famous for is I wrote a song that was used in a Super Bowl commercial.
You've written a lot of really good songs.
But I wrote one that was used in the Super Bowl commercial.
Yes.
And I probably through my entirety of my life will only have written one that has been used in the Super Bowl commercial. But that's something that not a lot of songwriters can say.
That's true. Very, very few. And especially a song entirely about the lack of pants.
Yes.
That's super fun.
Yes.
Super special. Also, yay, we fixed it. I think we might have a subscriber button right now. So look, if you're on Twitch, if you're on YouTube, too bad. And this isn't recorded for a podcast, so they won't hear it. But
they can always watch it on the YouTubes later.
Later, yeah. So if you are on Twitch right now, look and see if we have a subscribe button, because we now have a new thing on the dashboard when we're running things. It says subscribers and it says 0.
They say we have a subscribe button.
Yeah. So if you
test it out and see if it works.
Test it out. Yeah, click on it and subscribe. Oh, yay, we just got our first. Oh, we got 2. Look at that.
Excellent.
We have subscribers. Very exciting. And Kadave was our very first subscriber.
So that's different than following?
That's different than following. Following, I don't actually know whether they're different. We get money from subscribers.
Oh, okay.
So whether you use your free, if you're
so it's like an ad revenue sharing thing.
Yeah.
Got it.
So if you're hooked into Amazon, you get a free subscription every month. You have to come back and resubscribe, but it doesn't cost you anything. We get money from that to do the thing.
Excellent.
But if you aren't hooked into Amazon, or if you want to subscribe to multiple channels, there's a small fee. I have no idea what it is. But you can subscribe to channels, and you get
to subscribe to one for free, don't you?
If you're hooked into Amazon.
If you're
linked to Amazon, you get one free a month. But KJAlex9, I see your question. Hold on for just a second. I'll ask him that next. But you also get perks, like we're going to add some like special Happy Jacks emotes in the channel and stuff like that. I think Bill made it. It's a little newspaper that says good news on it, so you get to use that. So it's $4.99, Sployd is telling me in the chat room. $4.99 to subscribe to a channel a month. Don't feel obligated. Obviously, you still get cool content, and we love you, but it'd be nice. All right, so now we have 2 subscribers. It's really exciting.
Excellent.
All right, so the first question, we have a bunch on the forum. If you haven't been to our forum, it's happyjacks.org/forum. The first... Yes, good news. First question is going to come from our chat room, CageAlex9. He asks, what has been your favorite system to play and or run?
In the old days, it would have been GURPS. And I realized, or I think I'm starting to realize, that I become more fond of systems as I learn them and don't have to look things up. So today, I really enjoy running V20. And everyone who listens to the show who posts rules corrections is going to laugh when I say that I'm familiar with the rules, but I'm more familiar with the rules for that than I am to a lot of other games. We made a lot of mistakes in L5R. D&D 5 made a lot of mistakes in that. But those systems, I didn't really run them long enough to really have a real good understanding of how the mechanics work. I mean, I like to get to the point where I am, where it starts to fade into the back of my brain. I don't actually have to think about it. It just happens.
Right.
That's why I ran GURPS and stuck with GURPS almost exclusively. Well, actually exclusively for probably 12 or 15 years. For a long time, because I learned it, and it's just like the Savage Worlds people. Why would I run anything in anything else? It's the same thing. A lot of Universal System fans say that about their Universal System of choice. But it's also because I just knew the system well enough, and I could pretty much emulate whatever I wanted to emulate in it.
That's awesome.
But today I really enjoy running Vampire. I like all the fiddly bits in Vampire. And I just got, last week, the LARP, the Mind's Eye Theater LARP book, which is huge. It's at least as big as the Vampire D20 book. Oh, yeah, it's huge. It's the whole game. It's scaled down. Like, you only have 3 stats. But there's way more information about the political setup of the Camarilla and stuff like that.
That's interesting. You were telling me about that. Yeah.
So I've been reading through that because it really gives you a lot more detail about that stuff than you get in the regular V20 book.
Yeah. Now, could you run the D20 game from that book, or no?
Sure. Well, the fluff, it's just fluff. It's just, yeah. Okay. I mean, I have a feeling that Vampire 5, or what are they calling it, V5 or whatever, Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, is going to be very, very similar to the LARP. And it's looking like it, so we'll see. And
that's from White Wolf, even though Onyx Path is did the version that we did, right?
Yeah, well, they're publishing, Onyx Path published the older versions of it. Because I really think that probably White Wolf, when they came out with what is now called Chronicles of Darkness, and everyone else calls New World of Darkness, I think they really hoped that people would just switch over from one to the other. And of course, we're an intractable lot, gamers, and they're like, no, we like this. We're not going to switch from it. There's plenty of material for it. I don't need to. And now, so that's when I think they came out with the V20.
That makes sense.
But they didn't. I don't think they ever published it themselves. That was always done through Onyx Path. And I think I don't know if Chronicles. I don't remember. I have to look at the back of the books, but I don't know if Chronicles is White Wolf or if it's Onyx.
Right. Do you think your your love for Vampire had anything to do with how our game has gone and the players? Did that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, yeah. If the game had gone terribly, I probably wouldn't have bothered to learn the rules.
Right.
I mean, it's a fun group, and it's definitely. I mean, I feed off of active players, who want to do things and make plans. I'm also I think I'm a better GM with the mid game than I am with the beginning game.
Yeah.
Beginning game, that's sort of like a sales. Almost the first session of a game is almost like a sales pitch to players, and that I've had several campaigns that I've started and only run a couple sessions and then they kind of die.
Yeah.
With the vampire one, I kind of had an idea, like a different sort of take on it, sort of like quasi-anarch, but still called themselves Camarilla, and had a couple of long-term plans for the overall story arc.
Yeah.
And
did we follow any of those plans for the overall story arc?
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
Took us a really long time,
Right.
but. All right, we're having a lot of problems. We're dropping. I think we should restart the router real quick.
Okay, I'm gonna start.
Sorry, guys. Just because the don't dropping it on the wooden thing is probably not the best idea.
I wonder. No, I don't think so.
Here, let me turn this off because now that I'm on the page. Wait, it might have gotten better. Hold on. Alright, reconnection successful, it says. Alright, are we better? Are we back?
Should be.
Alright, no, yep, there we go. Stu is ultra loud. No, I'm number 2. There, that should be better. Oh, there we go.
Am I better?
Yeah, we need to number the seats, and then that way we always know. Because it's
well, if I'm sitting there,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm 2, not 3 here. Or whatever it was.
Well, I said 2 and 4 first.
Oh, okay. I think I switched.
But
yeah.
I think.
All right, now it's better. Thank you, Stork, for telling me all the things. You were awesome. He's in Slack going like, okay, I'm being you. I'm telling you what to fix because that's usually your job. So now our...
Oh, that's something I can do. I'll monitor Slack.
No, stop. Stop it. No. All right, so we were talking about Vampire the Masquerade and how the players kind of made you really like that game and enough to then learn the system. So now moving forward, do you think your passion for it is because of the interesting kind of conglomerate of things that have happened in the players, or do you think it's actually love of straight up the mechanics of the system too?
I really like the mechanics of the game. I don't like the depth of the crunch so much. I'd rather it be a little less exact about how roles work. But it all makes sense.
Right.
It all fits together logically. But it also lends itself to the kind of games I like to run, which are games with moral quandaries in it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, and you know, as we can tell from the last session, fights are kind of deadly.
Yeah.
Which I haven't posted. Did I posted that yet?
I don't think
Was
so.
it this last Sunday?
I think so. It's not.
No,
I don't think it's on there yet. Yeah.
Bloodblade and Tusk was last
Yeah,
Sunday. No,
so-
I think it is up.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
I think.
Let me check. I'll check the site before we talk about it because I don't want to screw people over.
I'm pretty sure it is.
We probably shouldn't. No, I'm doing it.
I can do it.
Nope. Last thing that was posted was.
No, keep going.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's there. All right. So yeah, we learned it was deadly.
Yeah.
Spoilers. We won't talk about that. I have PTSD. It's fine.
I've killed very few characters in my life.
I know. We do need something though, and maybe the viewers can help us come up with this. We've had a couple people die on air now, and it's different when we're live streaming it and have somebody die right there. I think we need when we figure out the math. Yes, for sure, this character's died. We need like a little ceremony, not like something that'll take a long time, like a specific toast or something. Oh, goodbye. I don't know, something. So So we need to come up with something.
Yeah.
At that moment, because otherwise it's a little awkward. Because you're like, oh, I'm dead, and I'm going to sit here.
Well, you had a backup character.
I did, but I mean,
And
like,
everyone,
if they don't.
I think everyone in all games should have a backup character.
That's probably a good
when we're
a good
streaming
rule.
live.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan.
At least their younger brother or sister who can come and avenge their death. I had a guy in a game do that. That was funny.
Yeah.
He had made a character, and one of the other characters had killed him, and so he made that character's brother. Came looking for him.
Nice.
And I think he cut both of his legs off or something.
Nice. Yeah. I'm actually really excited about my new character, but I need to finish fleshing her out.
You
by
gotta bump
Sunday.
her up and hit in XP. Too.
Yeah.
So
make
she's
it
not a
so.
schlub.
Yeah, and make it so she's less susceptible to fucking Toreador shit, man.
Right. Are you supposed to be Toreador?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm totally a Toreador.
Right. Yeah.
Just in case. Now the chat room's talking about how you're a lovely man and you're very dreamy. All right. I don't know how that happened, but all right. Rude alert on the forum. Question for Stu. Why problem make you have when you know... Okay, we're going to skip that
Exactly. Why problem make when you know problem have you don't want
All right. And dude, what is it with you and damn human centipede? Let it go. Jeebus. Yeah, why do you like that?
Through all three of them, I have the right.
That's
I've gone
so
through.
bad.
I've gone through the ordeal. I want to talk about it.
It's how you get through it.
It's a traumatic thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's how I'm processing my grief.
You deal with the problem. All right. This is a great question from Verk in the forum.
Well, let me just say. Also, I'm very much one of those people who I don't like to criticize something unless I've tried it. Mm-hmm. You'll notice on the show when we talk about a game, if I haven't played it, I don't usually have a whole lot of negative things to say about Apocalypse World games. Mm-hmm. Other people will say things, and I'll say, yeah, I can kind of see that. But I generally, most of the time, if I don't know about something or I don't consider that I have enough information to have formed an opinion, I won't.
Right.
I'll try not to have an opinion.
Right.
So, and that goes for all kinds of stuff.
Right.
I mean, I was at a party once, and someone was talking about L. Ron Hubbard as a science fiction writer, and they said, "Oh yeah, his writing is terrible. Have you read any of his books?" Like, no. Well, how do you know?
How do you know that?
So I went and read the first 5 volumes of his 10-volume science fiction epic called Invasion Earth.
Right.
And he's terrible science fiction writer. But I can say that with authority now.
Yeah, now you are informed.
Sometimes he's very funny, but
Yeah.
sometimes you can also see how much of a caveman and such that guy was.
Yes. So Verk has a really great question. He's saying, how has working on Moment of Truth changed how you view RPGs?
I'm a lot less critical of other gaming systems.
Right. So, and for those of you who don't know, Moment of Truth is the system that Stu has created from start to finish, and will be publishing soon, he promises.
The core book is probably very, very, very close to finished. I will need to lay it out and figure out what I'm going to do for artwork. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be free, or there'll be probably on Drive-Thru RPG there will be a pay what you want, and there'll also be an option to get a print-on-demand book, because books rock.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm super techie, but I love the books.
It's hard. It's and the playtesting process, and I'm not doing probably nearly as much playtesting as I should. I mean, I've done a lot at this point.
Yeah.
But I've been working on this for 3 years, I think. So, and every time I play test it, things get tweaked a little bit. And I think I've got pretty much everything. We'll see with the magic system, because the Bloodblade and Tusk game that I'm running right now is going to be using the magic system. And I think I'm starting to kind of get a sense for how game balance should work. So, but yeah, I definitely have a lot more respect for other people's efforts in that area, because it's a pain in the ass.
Right.
And I mean, when you start it out, you don't realize how much stuff you have to think about when you're making the game. I mean, it's not just character creation and combat. There's all kinds of other little fiddly things you have to do.
Yeah.
Equipment lists.
Yeah.
Equipment lists. There's nothing fun about coming up with equipment lists. No. You have to sit there and pull prices out of your ass. How much is this thing going to cost? Right. How much is that thing going to cost? How many kinds of swords did they have in 1200 AD? I don't know. I'll just go to Wikipedia and find out. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's what a broadsword looks like? I thought a broadsword would be thicker. Stuff like that.
Right.
But and then just equipment lists, I think those are probably the worst. Because that's just...
Shopping.
It's not even shopping.
No.
It's I'm going to generate the inventory for a general store and a blacksmith and a couple of other things, all off the top of my head. It's not the fun part of designing the game.
Right.
It's the tedious part of designing the game.
Right. They're asking, OMFG, so many used names, and the chat room says, question, is Stork going to do any of the art on the Moment of Truth book?
I don't know if he will.
He's in the chat room. I don't know, Stork, are you going to?
He might. He was probably going to go, nah. I think I may have asked him this once before, and he's like, nah. he's got a job.
He's a busy guy. Yeah, absolutely.
But if he has some art lying around he'll let me use.
That'd be awesome. So cool. You had Matt do some of the art.
He did the cover for the Moment of Truth core book.
Got it. Okay.
I paid him for that.
Yeah. Male dogs do have nipples. Just so you know. So
what did I say they did?
I don't know, but I was gaming with Jason today, who's in your Blood Blade and Tusk game.
Right.
And I guess you had a discussion about orcs and whether male orcs have nipples.
We were talking. I don't recall saying that male orcs didn't have nipples.
No, it was a discussion, I guess. You were trying to decide.
Maybe how many, because they have litters. So
okay.
They have more than two.
Right. So, because he was sitting petting my dog, and he suddenly looked down, and he's like, we're like in the middle of playing a Star Wars game. He's like, male dogs have nipples. We're like, what? And then he had to like recount the entire conversation. So, interesting gaming.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling so far about the Bloodblade and Tusk, the fantasy version of Moment of Truth?
I have a lot of work to do on the setting.
Yeah.
Because I only have the bare beginnings of it, because it's going to be a lot. Cause basically, it's sometime in like 1000 AD, orcs started emerging from caverns and caves in like north central France and started taking over territory.
Got it.
A lot of them, like hundreds of thousands of them. So Europe's history suddenly took a left turn because the Crusades never happened, because now instead of going and fight someone else to take back Jerusalem, they have to take back France. And the Normandy invasion never happens, so England remains a little more Britannish and a little less Normandy-ish. And probably still there's probably a lot of Roman influence, especially in the southern part of the island. But yeah, the Moors still hold a large part of the Iberian Peninsula. Not all of it, but most of it, I think. And one of the things that I was talking with Gina last time we played is there's going to be a lot of like secret sects and orders within the Catholic Church, or within the Church, because at that point there's really only one.
Yeah.
Although there are some splinterings already starting.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of political stuff, because I want the setting to be able to be used on the level we're using it at now, which is more of a kind of a low level thing. But also, characters could be like lords or barons or maybe bishops, and it could be more of a political game, because there's going to be a lot of factions within the nations of Christendom, and also, or the kingdoms of Christendom, and also within Christendom itself, within the church and all that. So I have a lot of work to do before that's finished.
And how do like the kingdoms of Christendom feel about magic? Is that something that the humans have access to, or is it just the orcs?
Well,
or you haven't decided
yet? I have.
Okay.
There's two different ways humans have magic. Some of them learned it from the orc shaman. That is considered witchcraft. Actually, all magic by the church is considered witchcraft, and it's a heresy. And once you've confessed your sins, they burn you. There's in fact an inquisition going on.
Okay. Unexpected.
No, this one was expected, but there also, it's sort of in the secret history of Europe, there are circles of mages who have been passing down what they have learned and gleaned for...
Like druids?
There's a druidic college of mages.
Okay.
Right now I've only detailed two of them, but what I'm going to basically give like an overview of the whole setting, and then I'm going to take like one section and like dial in on that and talk about that specifically. Then I will come out with, okay, the Britain supplement, and then I'll talk about specifically about what's going on in Britain or in the Iberian Peninsula, what's going on there. And I'll probably do a Rome, an Italian one as well. But in all of Christendom, before the orcs got there were some mages quietly living their lives, trying to keep a very low profile because they know that the church wants to burn them as witches.
Right.
But humans actually have two choices. They could have been orc trained, or they could have belonged to one of these secret organizations.
Okay, interesting.
So they have both.
That's really cool. Yeah, I'm actually super excited about that whole setting, and I was really bummed that, that game. Like, I'm really excited to see that and play that game eventually. So, and good luck, like, coming up with the magic system on the fly while you have two players playing magic using characters.
I didn't come up with it on the fly.
No,
I spent like 3 weeks almost every night that I wasn't doing something here working on it. And it's the first draft. But I think I might put it up for the Patreon so they can take a look at it.
Oh, that'd be cool. happyjacks.org/Patreon. Cool stuff. Dad of Ace or something in the chat room, or I'm sorry, in the forum says, how do you like versus GMing? I know you prefer to run games, but what are you getting out of your recent experiences as a player? So those are two separate questions. So first, which do you like more, playing versus GMing?
I like GMing. Well, I'm a control freak, so I like GMing. I think most good GMs are control freaks to a certain extent.
Oh yeah.
But I think the thing that I have noticed when I'm playing in a game with any GM of any caliber is I always learn something. Sometimes it's something not to do, but very often they have a different way of handling certain situations. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I think as a GM, I think you are doing yourself a disservice if you don't play once in a while, because seeing how other people GM will either give you a grave warning about things you shouldn't do, or will show you different ways GMs handle situations that come up.
Yeah. Is that turned off? Will you take it off the internet for me? I know it's not using anything, but just in case. Because we're still getting like unstable warnings and that they're still loading and stuff like that.
Wi-Fi is off.
All right.
Is it? What is the?
It's just kind of like, it just says it's
That's
unstable.
pretty good.
Yeah, it still says unstable, and they're getting loading screens. So while they're getting more loading screens, do you have more wine? This will be the refill break with our super classy wine in a box.
It's actually very good. It's a very good cab.
And it says the YouTube stream died. That's not good. All right. Well, we will soldier on, because what else are we going to do? So
there's nothing else on.
Yeah, there's nothing else we can do.
Except get the new internet.
Yeah, we will. It's one of the things we're working on. Support the Patreon. Help us get super better internet. Okay, question from Rude Alert on the forum. What is Stu's favorite poetic form?
Sonnet.
Oh, he's like, actually, I already know the answer to that one. It's lambic pentameter. Hey-o.
Is that 5 beers?
Yeah.
It's 5 beers at once.
In a row.
Yeah, and well,
in one line.
that's written in lambic pentameter. So, yeah.
Yes. More serious questions. What is Stu's proudest gaming moment and why?
I don't know.
That's not a good answer. I love that they've learned, though, because like me with my phrasing of questions, it's like, and why? Because I'm like such a teacher.
I like it when they really throw a curveball to the players and they're just left flat-footed.
Yeah.
And the only one that can come to mind, which is the one we talk about all the time, was from the Savage Worlds Ghostbusters game. When things go from being jovial and crazy to...
Oh my god, the little kids
this
eating
is
her
really
mom's
disturbing.
eyes.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
But I like that sort of visceral reaction from the players.
Yeah. That was super...
But I also like to do it in a way that's not cheap. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I know so-and-so doesn't like this, so I'm going to have that. That's a terrible thing to do.
Yeah.
But to get them have them invested, like really invested in an NPC, and then have something happen to the NPC. Things like that.
Yeah. They're saying that your shirt is super apropos tonight.
Yes, it is.
The loading screen.
I love this shirt.
Yeah, they were having some issues, and there's also a giant fire over in fairly near here. So in Burbank, so I don't know. Maybe that's affecting the internet and stuff too. I don't know. Let's go to Cage Alert. Cage Alex 9 in the chat room. What inspires you most when you're coming up with a setting or backstory?
With a setting or backstory?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what inspires me?
Inspires you. I actually just went through this today. I started a new campaign today with the Powered by the Apocalypse. I'm stalling, by the way, so keep thinking. The Powered by the Apocalypse Star Wars system, which name I can't think of right now. And it was super interesting. We did character creation, and like you've seen here, we used them with Jason's Desert of Despair D&D 5e game. We used the Apocalypse questions for each other, which was a super interesting thing to make ties between us and really helped flesh out a lot of our backstories.
I don't know if anything specifically inspires me.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons I like working on Bloodblade and Tusk is because it's a defined history that's had an event that's changed things.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of thinking about what are the logical conclusions of that, like not having a Crusades
mm-hmm.
and not invading Normandy, not having the Norman invasion of England.
Invasion of Normandy is way later.
Yeah. But I think, I don't know if I get, what normally, like every morning I go for a walk, like usually about a mile or a little more. And when I do that, a lot of times when I'm doing that, I'm thinking about, because whenever I exercise, I don't have anything else to do, so I think about what games I'm
Gaming,
running.
yeah.
And I try to think what would be an interesting thing to have happen, or... Well, I'll tell you what inspires game prep more than anything else is the players.
Yeah.
I think it should. Because
mm-hmm.
I don't... I mean, the stories I generally come up with are fairly simple. It's just the players don't know everything that I know.
Yeah.
Right? So, but watching them and their reactions to things give me clues as to what they're going to be interested in. And this comes back from the audience feedback thing, from being a stage performer, and that is when the audience is into something, I'm going to get more into it too.
Right.
So if the audience reacts to us singing dirty songs about women and beer, I'm going to be more excited about writing more songs about dirty songs about women and beer. And
right.
the same thing if I throw a particular kind of NPC into a game and people really glom onto that, I'm going to work on that NPC. I'm going to his or her backstory and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I guess if I had to say something, what inspires me, it is the reaction of the players more than anything else, I guess.
I find like that's something I use a lot when I'm doing my backstories for my characters. Most of the time when I sit down at the table to... Excuse me.
Bless you.
Sorry. When I sit down at the table to create a new character with a backstory, I have like a sort of a frame, but a lot of the backstory comes from the other players. And
right.
when I've sat down with you, when you've been a player and created characters, you tend to do the same thing when you're creating a character's
right.
backstory.
I also, when I'm doing the backstory, I like to give the GM ammunition.
Yes.
Because, I mean, that's
the point.
Because I GM a lot, and it's nice to have that. I don't always end up using it, but it's really nice to have in your back pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it makes things more interesting. If your character has these quirks that the GM can use, there's more stuff for you as a player to do.
Right. Yeah, you wronged someone and they're out to get you.
Yeah.
That's a great thing for a GM.
Yeah, and for you. Question from Forrest in the chat room. What IP, franchise, or established universe would you like to run a game in? It's a good question.
I was toying with running, and I still might run it, a GURPS game in Red Dawn, the original 1980s film. Mm-hmm. The only reason I kind of got reluctant to do it is because I kept coming up with like weird shit to throw into it. Because it's like, okay, well, what if, like because the basic premise is the Soviets invade along with the Cubans and the North Koreans. I don't know if the North Koreans are in the first movie or the second movie. They may only be in the second one. They invade the heartland of the United States, and I thought, well, what if the CIA and the KGB were both working on like psychic warriors?
Ooh.
So there's like, but it's like, no, that's not really Red Dawn. So I'm kind of reluctant to run that. a lot of the stuff I like, it would be really hard to run a whole game of. Like, one of my favorite novels is Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
But you...
Point. Reconnection successful. Give it like 2 seconds till they're in the chat room.
Well, doesn't it buffer for them?
It does for a second.
It doesn't skip, does it?
No. But we have Bad Luck's Bro. I think I've ever
Or the
heard.
drunk Dear Abby.
The drunk Dear Abby. That has nothing to do with how to get married. It's amazing. So we had another question. Sorry. Oh my God, so many things.
Oh, the other IP that I would be interested in running a game in would be Battlestar Galactica. But then again, that's a hard thing to run in.
Yeah.
Because it's like, they're not. Are they going to be part of the Battlestar Galactica fleet?
Fleets?
Or are they people on another planet somewhere? They're in hiding.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to do.
Or maybe they're Cylons. They're like a fifth colony.
That would be super interesting. Okay, so Bad Luck's Bro, new person in the chat room. Question for a new viewer: how would you describe your show, podcast? In one sentence, other than the really cool Dear Abby drunk, not trying to get you married thing that we just came up with.
It is an advice show to help us make our tabletop games better. Us meaning you and us.
Yeah, us as the community.
Because much of the advice we give comes from other listeners.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's become a funnel for lazy gamers to give other people advice.
Well, usually that's mostly accurate. But our weekly show, we get people writing in from actually all over the world. We're on all 7 continents now. I don't know if we still are, but we were at one point.
Do we have listeners in Africa?
Yeah, we finally got them for a while. I don't remember when, but we had a celebration on one of the podcasts a long time ago.
Because I know we have Antarctica. Yeah, I think you're right. I think we do.
We finally got all 7. We're super excited. People write in and ask us questions and also give us advice, and they also share horror stories. So we share and disperse wisdom.
And it's half entertainment.
Drinking.
It's half entertainment and half
drinking.
Education. I mean, we do talk about how to run a better game, but we also have fun with it. And,
we think we're hilarious.
Yeah.
Question from Zach from SD. If you could summon any host on command, who would you be summoning most, and to answer what question?
Any host? What do you mean?
Like one of the hosts.
One of our hosts?
Yeah. You don't have to pick me just because I'm sitting here and awesome. It's okay. No pressure.
Oh, it would be Tappy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ask him any question, but I'd want to get in a fight with him again.
Yeah.
Because I like arguing with Tappy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. CA Dave says, the South African completed our continental victory.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yes, we finally got someone from South Africa. So. And Bad Luck's Bro says, thanks for the answer. We're having lots of loading issues. But that's okay. So back to the forum. What is your... Oh, we already asked the proudest gaming moment. So what is your most shameful gaming moment and why?
Oh, that would have been... I was running a time travel game in GURPS back in college, or after college. And I totally put in like a Mary Sue NPC. It was Zorro.
Oh, God.
And I was having him do stuff without even having him make rolls. And Bill actually called me on it. That was probably the moment.
Yeah.
Because that's a real common error for GMs.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had never done it up until that point. But I thought, no, this is Zorro. He's kind of like a superhero.
Amazing, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's super cool.
Sometimes
we're
cable's a bunch of
Yeah, we're resetting things again, guys, because I don't know what's happening today. It might be the fire. There's a big fire, like, not very far from us, like a mile or two, and it's a big fire. So I'm going to sit here and look super entertaining for you while Steve resets the router. So we're going to be gone for just a moment. Please come back. Kept you in
I'm getting
today.
100 down now.
Right, but
I still only get 5 up.
Right, so you should have much better up by now. All right. No, we're still not back.
I even said I'll pay for better up if they'll give it.
That's not how you barter.
But they just don't.
Okay.
It used to be 2.
Yeah, I know. It'll be better. I'll call and we'll see.
And I wonder. Let me turn my Wi-Fi on real quick and run a speed test. Because I wonder if it might be every so often. It doesn't happen.
It says we have 19 viewers, but nobody's talking in the chat room. Are you guys seeing us? I'm just sitting here getting drunk. It's super great. I love summer because all I have to do tomorrow is play more games and sleep late and cuddle my dog, which is a male dog and has nipples.
That's weird.
It's not weird. You have nipples and you're a male of the species.
You play with his nipples? That's weird.
No, I don't play with them.
I
said he has nipples. He's a male dog who has nipples.
Yeah, sure.
It's a thing. That was really funny today.
Okay, yeah, something's wrong.
Yeah.
My up is not even 5.
Nope. Barely not 5. All right, we're back again. Wait.
But my down is fine. Or my down was only 5, but my up is fine. 4.3 is fine.
Well, are we sitting in Stork's usual chair? OMFG, so many used names says. No, he usually sits over there.
He does sit in that chair.
He sits right here.
It depends on the game.
We're screwed. Also, we're going to continue to try and improve the internet. We'll just have to have like another one of these where we ask you questions, because I don't think they're ever going to run out of questions for you specifically. So it'll be great. It'll be fine. I'll make my husband edit this all together later so it's coherent and not like 8 different episodes.
Oh, you're recording it too, right?
Yeah, we're recording it too. Oh, there you go. So that'll be good.
You can just put the recording.
Yeah, we'll put the recording up instead of the live stream. So it'll be fabulous. Oh, there you go. Yes, go ahead and link to stuff in the chat room, unless you start linking to porn or something, and then it's at people's discretion. Any intense food dislikes?
I'm not really fond of green beans, but if they're prepared certain ways, I like them a lot.
Bacon?
I love bacon.
Yeah, no, I know, and they make green beans amazing.
Yeah, really? I like them when they're like sautéed with like a little balsamic vinegar.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't like canned green beans. Ugh.
It's the best.
Ugh. No.
I'm from Riverside. I have no taste buds. It's great. Why do you hate Oxford commas so much, especially given how simple and practical they are? Oh yeah, we're getting serious here, boys and girls.
I don't hate Oxford commas. I don't think they're necessary. If you have an Oxford comma in a sentence and it requires an Oxford comma for people to understand what the sentence is, you've written a shitty sentence and you should just edit it and write it correctly.
This is my life.
I don't need an Oxford commas. If you need them, go ahead and use them. I don't care if you use them or not. You're the people who care.
I won't even tell you how many things I've written for Happy Jacks that, like, he's written back, no Oxford comma.
That's only because I know that you're one of the people that cares
commas.
about Oxford commas.
Yes. Yay, we got a new follower. Thank you.
Excellent.
So, yes. Let's see. Would he like to someday be able to turn podcasting and twitching into a steady stream of revenue, perhaps even a primary or sole income?
I don't know if it'll ever be that.
But would you like to is the question, not...
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Job is still a job.
Yeah. That's my thing with costuming. It's like, I love costuming, but I don't like costuming being a job because then it stops being my fun thing.
Then it's a job, and you have to do it.
You have to do it.
Right. And we're already at the point where we have to do it. Because, I mean, we get advertisers and stuff like that. You gotta put a show on.
Right.
So, but, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Well, it's also, and it's not at the point where, like, if we're sick and we have to cancel, then we can't make rent or something like that.
Right, yeah.
So it's still, like, definitely fun, and we can kind of pass things around.
I mean, if this medium still exists in my retirement, it might be my sole source of income.
That would be cool.
I mean, Social Security.
In addition to that, yeah. Who is your favorite Happy Jacks host among the regulars, other than yourself? Oh, yeah. We're getting some drama over here.
Favorite host? Tim. It's Tim.
I know it is.
Because of his exuberance.
His exuberance. I'm not exuberant, people.
Well, come on. Tim's like a puppy dog.
He is. He's so puppy dog. Oh, I'll be on the show. Okay.
And I know it annoys a lot of the other hosts. His exuberance, but I find it refreshing. And it gives me energy.
Right. Well, and also you feel super appreciated and loved. It's like that happy dog, like when you get home and you've had a bad day and your dog's like, I'm so happy. I'm just so happy to be here. I'm so happy you're here.
Well, it gives me more energy, too.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, yeah, I can totally see that. Stork in the chat room's like,
Well, no, Stork is part of the foundation.
Yes.
Especially on the weekly show, because he's like the guy that says all the things that people complain about on the forum. He's probably responsible for 80% of our forum traffic. Mm-hmm. Stork said, you guys said this. What do you mean you guys? That was Stork. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Stork has a question, although Stork did not follow the rules and type question ahead of his question so that I know it's a question. No, it's how I read the chat room. I'm monitoring many things. This is helping me. So he says, when did you switch from over-prepping games to not prepping at all, and what caused that switch?
It was a book I read. It was the book from, what was the guy's name? It was the prep book that the guys from, is it the guys that do Gnome Stew? What the hell was the name of that book?
I don't know. The one you talk about all the time?
I can't even remember the name of it now. I don't have internet on this thing.
No, you don't, because we made you turn it off.
It's a book about game prep. I can't even think of the guy that wrote it. They do a podcast. They do the Misdirected Mark podcast.
Yeah. You talk about it all the time.
It's been a long time since I've talked about it. But it's that book.
Yeah, okay. Go back and listen to all our episodes ever and you'll hear it.
If you go on the forum and ask me, I'll find it there.
The chat room.
Go to our forum, happyjacks.org/forum.
Forum. That's where we're getting a lot of these questions. Join the thing.
This shit.
Yeah, we have like all the forums ever now.
And Flame Wars.
Yeah. Tim's been like overcompensated since he's not allowed to play in the vampire game anymore, and he's now like organizing and multiplying the forums exponentially. I like went looking for things today. I was like, what the heck? I can't find anything. But it's awesome. So go and you can look at it. Let's see. Given something he mentioned on the forum recently, what are you not allergic to?
Nothing. What water? I'm not allergic to water. My own
Sunlight.
skin. I'm not allergic to my own skin.
Yeah.
I don't break out in sunlight. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
But I had at least a level 2 reaction to everything they stuck me with.
Yeah.
Which is like a moderate, but I think that's probably most people because they're allergens.
Yes. Maybe.
If you rub dust in anyone's face, they're going to have a reaction to it.
Yeah, but mine like when they did the test like popped up like crazy.
See, mine was on my back. I couldn't see it. I could feel the itching.
I did that one when I was little. And then the nurse came in and was like, oh, it looks like Christmas lights. Everything's all lit up. I was like, oh, that's great. I was like 7 or 8 or something. I was like,
That's intense because it was 72 pins.
No, all of your back. Yeah. I did one as an adult that was like 20 or something right here. They're asking how old you are. I'm not going to ask you that question.
I'm 50. I'll be 51 in July.
Yeah. I feel like now these are just them trying to like steal your identity because it's like, what's your middle name? What's your social security? No, I'm just kidding. They didn't ask about the social security number. And finally, and completely unrelated to my last two questions, what's your credit card number? Yeah, no, they're really just trying to steal your identity. All right, Tomes in the chat room. Let me see. Question. So explain that transition. Stork wants more attention.
What transition?
The transition from prepping too much to not prepping at all.
I read the book and I realized I'm prepping too much, and it's because I left so much prep on the table that never got used.
Right.
It's like, what is all that stuff?
Yeah.
And it's not like, I mean, some of it is useful stuff that like NPCs and stuff. You can always come back to them later, and organizations and detailing locations and stuff. That's stuff that you will probably eventually use. But when I sit down and try to map out, okay, here's where I think the adventure is going to go, and if it doesn't go here, if they make a left turn over here, then it might do like this, and trying to anticipate the player's every move. Instead of doing that, I just kind of, what I normally do is I'll have, I don't know if there's any left.
Oh no.
We have champagne.
That's okay. Oh no. Keep answering the question.
I forgot what I was saying. I really could forget what I was saying.
Okay, no worries. In the chat room, they're saying Vil Sion, Never Unprepared. Is that the name of the book?
Yeah. Phil Vecchione.
Vecchione, okay.
Phil Vecchione, Never Unprepared. That's the book.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's not a question. Ask the poutine donut question. That's a real thing? I don't know.
Poutine donuts? I've never heard of poutine donuts. Sounds kind of nasty.
Yeah, that sounds gross.
I don't think I'd like donuts and poutine.
Yes.
I do like poutine, but it's like the worst thing for a diabetic to eat.
Yes.
Except maybe pizza.
Yeah, that too. Tomes in the forum. Some standards he likes to ask. What's the famous game, your favorite game you've played in the last year and why?
Game I've played or GM'd?
Played.
In the last year, what have I played? The Savage Worlds Rifts game, which is fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've played anything else in the last year.
You've done some one shots, haven't you?
Played?
I don't know.
Oh yeah. the Fate or Fate-ish, that's not Inglourious Bastards. Magnificent Bastards.
Super fun game.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. I've discovered I don't like playing villains. I don't like playing bad people. I don't mind playing vicious people, but I don't like playing selfish people. And the character in that game is very selfish. Whatever his name is.
Yeah. I'm running into that, actually, and I'm a little bit relieved. Spoilers, if you're not caught up on Mode of Sin, stop listening right now. Watching, whatever you're doing, you're watching. But, like, it started to be a lot of pressure to be, like, Prince of the Islands.
Oh, sure.
And, like, make sure everyone at the table as a player felt heard, but still make a decision in the way a prince would.
Right.
Like, it was kind of hard, so I actually am a little bit relieved that I'm not that anymore.
Right. Well, you might all get to that point too.
Right. Absolutely. But like it really made me, especially when you first started talking about playing Svengali.
Svengali.
Like, yeah, and how you can like control people's minds and how like.
Yeah, I don't like making other players do what I want them to do.
Right, and that was kind of like the thing that I started feeling more and more, and really being able to agree with you on as I was Prince. It's like I don't like making other people do.
Giving them orders.
Yeah,
right.
but that's like
it's kind of the same thing.
The sort of thing. Yeah.
I think, and I don't think that there's been anything else I've played. Mm-hmm. I do like playing the Glitter Boy because I very rarely play characters that just blow a bunch of shit up. Mm-hmm. That have one giant hammer, and then every problem looks like and it really does. When that's the thing that you do.
Yeah.
That's the tool you reach for. Oh, there's a toolbox and there's one tool in it, and it's a bang stick.
Yeah.
Or whatever it's called, bang gun or boom gun.
Boom gun. Yeah.
Bang stick is the shark thing, I think.
Jeff Walklin in the chat room says, "Question: how do you decide who's on each Friday night episode?"
They sign up.
Yeah.
And if there's empty seats, I go to our host Slack and I say, "Hey, there's empty seats," and people generally will sign up.
Yeah.
There have been episodes where it was just a couple of us, me and Stork or me and you, and it happens once in a while, but there's a large enough pool of people now where I can put something on Slack and usually have at least 3.
Yeah, yeah. And we've sort of started limiting it to 3 in addition to you.
Yeah, 4 total.
Yeah, 4 total. We have different opinions.
After that, people start talking over each other too much.
Yeah.
We talk over each other anyway, but it gets really bad once you have 5 people because what starts happening is people start actually having conversations with other hosts. Mm-hmm. So I'll start talking to you, and someone over there is addressing a question or something.
Right.
And next thing you know, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. See, me from a visual, I like it when there's 5 people because it looks nice on the cameras.
But
that's the thing
5 is the threshold where that stuff starts to happen.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should do a thing where you do 2 and 2 for just the podcast episodes.
Yeah, so the board is set up to be over there.
But then it's right here. You can still do.
And then no one sees the logo.
We can make the logo's on the thing anyway. They can see it right here. It's
but we got the whole thing, and look how nice that looks.
Logo's over here. It's right there. Look at the logo. You can't see it. It's in the thing.
It's right there. I can see it on the screen.
I know. Stop ruining all my fun. God damn it. All right. And now they're talking in French. What's the best part about starting the podcast?
What was the best part about starting the podcast?
Stork asked that. He's probably saying, my friendship with Stork that got to build over the years.
No, being able to interview Steve Jackson. That was awesome.
That was amazing.
That was awesome.
That was super exciting.
We had, at that point, I don't even know if we had 1,000 listeners by then.
I don't think we did.
But
it was a long time ago.
I contacted Stephen S. Long, who is the line editor of Hero, and Steve Jackson, and then Bill had known Shane Hensley from Savage Worlds through another company, and over the course of several months, we got to interview all 3 of these guys.
Yeah,
and it was really that to me was very cool to be able to talk to interview Steve Jackson because I'd been playing the game for so long, and I really admire his work. Not just that, but all of the other stuff, the little micro games that he used to make back in the late 70s, early 80s. The other thing is, going to cons and meeting people who have traveled from great distances to come and meet us. That is
So
incredibly
amazing.
rewarding.
Yeah.
That someone that we've touched someone enough to make them not literally touch. Well, maybe when they meet in person, but to touch that we've touched someone to the point where they're like, I'm going to travel halfway around
Meet
the world
these
and
people,
meet
yeah.
these people, and that's
Like,
awesome.
Yeah, like Jib, like he changed his entire life.
Right.
And that's, I don't know, it's,
I don't think that was us.
well, Gina is part of us, so that
Okay.
counts. Wait, there was another question here. Let's see, where did it go? Oh, here we go. Question.
See, turning the modem on and off seems to have fixed it.
Yeah, it seems to be much better
It
now.
has to be both.
Yeah.
I think it's because they figure, they're streaming, let's throttle them.
Yeah, probably.
And so if I change it, it might change the IP address.
Yeah.
So.
And just getting faster. Have you encountered or read Alpha Omega RPG, Anima Beyond Fantasy, or Iris Essence? Hoping to get system mastery to look at any of them for various reasons.
No, I have not looked at any of those.
Okay. That is all foreign to us. There's another question I missed a second ago. A question. I know. Stork's just asking again. Now, what is the worst or the downside of hosting a podcast?
Well, if you're going to host a podcast, your schedule is a promise.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to do a weekly show, and if you want to build subscribers or listeners, you have to do a weekly show.
Even
you
more so now that
can-
we're streaming.
Yeah, but you can do every other week. What would that be? Bi-weekly? That'd be bi-weekly, not semi-weekly. Semi-weekly would be twice a week, right? Is that right? Yeah, bi-weekly. If you're doing a bi-weekly show...
I think bi-weekly can actually mean either one.
Right, but semi-weekly is twice a week, right?
No, I don't know. Semi-weekly to me means
Semi-monthly would be
while.
twice a month, not once every other month.
I don't know. You have the degree in journalism.
Anyway.
Mine's in liberal studies.
Having to do the show even when I don't really feel like it, that's kind of a drawback. Although usually, once I get here and set up and get ready to go, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I mean, more often than not, I'm looking forward to recording the show on Friday on my drive home from work than I am dreading it. Very rarely dread it, unless I'm sick or tired or something
During
like that.
fair is the hardest time for
During
you.
fair sucks.
Yeah.
Yes, that sucks. But we do generally do shorter shows anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just the next morning it sucks worse because it stayed up
You have to
later
get
than I
up
should have.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest drawback. But that's just part of, if you're going to do a podcast, you have to have a schedule. And it really, I mean, if you want to build a good sized audience, it needs to be weekly. To try to do another schedule once a month, you're never going to gain traction.
Right. So, yeah, that's definitely... Yeah, and I mean, now that we're streaming, it's even like, okay, it's not even just we have to get it done. It's like it has to be starting on time.
Well, now we have content at least 3 times a week.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting more and more.
But I don't have to do it. And some of that is actually playing games.
Right.
Which is, in and of itself, a lot easier than doing the show. Especially if I'm not GMing. If I'm playing, that's the thing I like most about playing over GMing. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
I just have to show up, set my fat ass in a chair, and just wait for the GM to entertain me.
Yes. Go, minion. Yeah, and I think as we've grown, we've also started growing more people who can be responsible for different things.
Yeah.
It's not just...
Yeah,
I mean, a
people
lot
are,
of it's still on you. But
Gina can work the
board.
streaming stuff and
Yeah.
the board and all that now. I do have to give them a lesson on the board so that they understand when something's going wrong, how to fix it.
Yeah, we have like this collection of tutorials that are all posted in the Slack channel that is slowly growing.
Yeah.
It's like, here's one little thing to learn. Oh, good, you learned that. Okay, now here's another little thing to learn. Good job. Jeff Walken in the chat room says, question, how do you balance job, kids, boggarts, and Happy Jacks? Weasel Creature says, barely. That's his answer for the question to you.
Being single helps because I only have the kids half the week.
Right.
So that actually gives me a little more time. Also having older children who
Yes.
sometimes don't really want to be around me much and makes it easy.
Oh my God, your daughter is so
My
hilarious.
daughter is almost a
I love
teenager
her.
and she's already she's been acting like one for 2 years. It's all about scheduling.
Yeah.
It's all scheduling.
Yeah.
Boggards, we don't. The Boggards are not nearly as active as they have been in the past. I actually started the podcast and started getting back into gaming because I had a 2-year-long bout of songwriter's block. And I thought, I'm going to do something else creative to sort of get my brain working again, and then I'll go back to songwriting after that. And I started, I went and bought the 4th edition D&D books, got ready to run a campaign, started listening to some podcasts. I'm like, you know what? I listened to a lot of RPG podcasts back then. I'm like, I think I can do a better show than a lot of these. Not some of them. Some of them are very good, but it's like...
a lot of them aren't entertaining. A lot of them are full of lots of good information, but are not super entertaining to listen to.
Entertaining is a hard thing to learn, and you really it's really trial and error learning to be entertaining, and it is really hard to do if you don't have an audience in front of you. So we really have a trial by fire at fair, because you go to fair and you're doing a show.
You have to be
You'll know right away if the joke you told is funny or not.
Yeah, because
they'll let you know.
They will stand there and walk away from you. It's like, oh, you suck, I'm leaving, bye.
So you learn, and it took the Boggards years, like almost a decade, to figure out what songs, what sorts of bits in between songs we need to do to keep the audience there, to keep them entertained, to get them to like us, and to build the crowd up big enough to do that.
Yeah.
So we take those things we learned into the show.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons that we were able to build an audience as quickly as we did.
Yeah.
Which we did build pretty quickly, although it's kind of plateaued. Our downloads for the regular episodes around 3,000 to 3,500 right now.
Yeah.
Which is good. It's probably in the top 5 or 10% of all podcasts.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not to the big podcast buck money.
Right. Yeah. No. Of course. Yeah, and I think like you were saying that really does kind of set us apart, because we've had a lot of people be like, "You guys are actually really funny."
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're corny as hell.
Totally not. Yeah.
But to be able to be funny, also you have to be able to manage the fear of looking like an idiot.
Right. And
we all deal with it.
Look like idiots a lot, so we're not so afraid of it.
Word.
Yeah. I think, too, it's interesting because there's a difference between when you're playing to a live audience, you know immediately.
Yeah.
And it took us, I think, a while to kind of develop our unique kind of sense of humor and entertainment for the podcast, because we don't have that immediate laugh.
That's why we wanted emails right away.
Yes.
I mean, in the first episode, like, tell us what you think of the show. We want to know what you think, because we're all used to being in front of a live audience and getting feedback immediately. But at least with emails and the forum and live viewers now, we can get a close to immediate response. Maybe not during the show necessarily,
right,
but at least know if we're headed in the right direction or the wrong direction.
Right, and that's been an interesting addition with the streaming. Like, we've added streaming in the last, because it's 8 months now.
Well, we had it in there, but it didn't look good.
But there wasn't a chat. Yeah, I mean, we had a chat. That's true. That's right.
Yeah,
I set up that chat room. I forgot.
No, it's actually been years.
Yeah,
because before we were doing it on Google Hangouts, I was doing it on Mixler, which was an audio only one.
Yeah. So yeah, we'd send out the chat room, and then Sam helped you set up the chat room. My husband Sam, not Samantha.
Yes.
Because it was the Flash chat room, whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was blab.php or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that. So that was an interesting addition.
We've been streaming we might have been streaming for almost 3 years now.
Yes. No, but I mean not
on Twitch.
Not nicely. No. Not with the good cameras. People are
the
always
audio is always good.
We know what you look like now. It's amazing. Right. Yeah. I think I probably missed some questions in the chat room because people are talking.
Well, have them retype them.
Yeah, they can retype them. That'll be fine. So we'll go back to the forum. What game would you like to most to play in the next year? Not to run, to actually play.
You know what I would like to try is a vampire LARP. I'd like to see what it's like. Because I think one day I would like to organize one.
That would be interesting.
Yes. Because there's a... I was looking on Meetup to see if there was a vampire LARP in Pasadena. And there isn't one, but it said, but 50 Pasadena subscribers are interested in such a thing. Do you want to start that group?
Oh.
So...
Well, we have a lot of connections to, like, the big vampire LARPs.
Well, there's the Pillars of Salt.
Pillars of Salt.
That's the vampire people that we know.
Yeah.
There's also Dying Kingdoms, but that's not a vampire game; it's a fantasy game.
No, that's a fantasy game. Yeah.
But
we know those people too.
We know a lot of people that do it, But it would be nice to have something up in this neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Because most of that stuff is kind of more down by Orange County, Long Beach.
Oh, is it? Okay.
There's actually a Mind's Eye Theater. It's based in like Long Beach or Seal Beach or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we know. I can think of 8 people right now just in this area who already play, who are in North Hollywood or work there or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think we'd have problems getting people.
No.
But I don't know the first thing about running a LARP.
Yeah.
So I think I would at least need to go and take notes.
That's why we know Will H. and we know
a lot of people that do.
So maybe Eddie, Edward.
Yeah,
Burke in the chat room says, Stu for Prince of LA.
Well,
the Glittering Knight?
No, it'd be Pasadena.
Pasadena. What do we call it, Pasadena? The kingdom.
I don't know.
The Kingdom of the Rose.
No, something of thorns. Something with thorns.
Thorns, yeah, that makes sense. Cool. And game you'd most like to run in the next year? You're running a bunch of games. I feel like you're probably already running games you'd like to run in the next year.
I generally only run games I like to run. Except for a couple.
Do you want to tell us which of those were?
Huh?
Do you want to tell us which ones you don't want to run up that you brand?
Well, the power creep in D&D bugs me.
Yes.
I don't know. I want to run more games with kids. The next con in LA, I'll probably run a lot of kids games because I'll have my kids with me again.
Okay. You should at least run one adult game though.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll watch the kids. We'll switch off.
Yeah, maybe.
People like your games.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and their kids will like them too. I was actually thinking about doing a scaled down kids version of Moment of Truth too.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So
that'd be super interesting. If D&D was the only RPG you could play for... Oh, sorry, this is from Uncommon Man in the chat in the forum. If D&D was the only RPG you could play for the rest of your life, which edition would you choose?
5th.
Yeah. That's an easy one.
Or maybe 0th.
The very, very first one? That seems scary.
No, well, it's like Swords and Wizardry. Swords and Wizardry is very accessible.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't played that yet. Are you using a cheese slicer for anything? P.S. You can use a cheese slicer to make slices of vegetables, preferably cucumber.
I actually have a mandolin for cucumber. We have used it to slice cheese, though. Thank you for the cheese slicer.
Ooh, Stork says, Pasadena is known as Crown City, so Crown of Thorns.
Oh, yeah, there you go, Crown of Thorns.
There you go. Yeah. Nice job, Stork. Nice job. All right. They're arguing about what the vampire name for Pasadena would be.
Corona del Thornes, or whatever.
No.
It should be in Latin.
Yeah, it should be. Of the Hill People on the forum asks, now that you've played Vampire, are you interested in trying some of the other settings from Old World of Darkness?
Yeah, I'd like to... I would like to play in a mage game. I think Mary at some point is going to organize one and run one. I don't want to run mage because I don't want to have to read the whole book. Because, oh my god, it's so complicated.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind running a vampire or a werewolf game, although I would want to spend a lot more time reading it. And I think that's really all I'm like very interested in right now. Kurt is going to be running a Dark Ages vampire game, which I'm very much looking forward to because I played he ran a play test here of one, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it's a very fun game. I like the setting. I like Dark Ages.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, we're gonna start. Like we're at almost 9:30 already, and we've gotten through like half the questions. So you're very popular. We might have to do like an episode 2.
Give me another one.
All right. The show's gotten more technical in recent years with the microphone and camera setup. Is the technical setup more or less difficult for this than a live Boggart show? What advice can you give someone trying to make a sweet podcasting setup? In quotes.
They're two totally different animals. Setting up a Boggart show is very analog. I have an analog board. You plug microphones and cables into it, albeit a lot of them, and you're not reliant on a bunch of technology to work. As long as the board turns on, everything will be fine.
Right.
It takes a long time. The setup for that takes if I have to do it by myself, it takes about an hour to 90 minutes to do it. If I have help, it takes about 2 hours.
Yes.
The setup here requires a lot of things to go right.
Yes. The internet and all the things.
There's yeah, there's computers and modems and routers and power line modems and all kinds of, I mean, to connect this network together, there's five cryptic boxes that all have to work correctly, not including the computers in here.
Right.
And that in and of itself is just a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
As far as the audio part of it, the real challenge has been the fact that we're using lavs rather than using condenser microphones on stands.
Yeah.
I'm able to get a much clearer sound on the microphones than I am on the lavs. But that's kind of a visual, what's the term I'm looking for? Compromise you had to make, because I could have set up large diaphragm condenser microphones in here, but you wouldn't be able to see anyone's face because they're going to be like almost near their faces.
Yeah.
As far as advice for a podcast setup, you need I would say minimally you need a board, some kind of mixer that you're going to put out into a computer to record your sound. It's not the best way to record it, but it works fine. And you're going to need a microphone. And it really doesn't matter what kind of microphone you have. I mean, I wouldn't use a $10 microphone from Radio Shack, but if you can get something in the $40 to $50 range, it's probably fine. I have condenser microphones here that only cost about $50 or $60 that I use to record Boggart CDs at certain times because they're the right mic for the job and they sound good. They sound fine. Not as good as my $300 microphones or my $500 microphones, but they still sound pretty good. Really, I would say the best microphone, cable, headphones, board, and some way to get the sound from the board into your computer to record. Yeah. That's what you need. Yeah. You have more than one person, have a microphone for each person. Don't try to hand it around.
Yeah, that's a pain. Don't do that.
It is. And you can hear it. But really, the critical thing is knowing how to use the equipment and knowing how to use it correctly so that you get a good audio sound, and then whatever recording software you're using, even if you're using something cheap like Audacity or Reaper, which is a very inexpensive, Audacity is free. Reaper, if you buy it, I think it's $65 or something like that. Very good software, but you need to learn how to use it. You need to know what compression is, you need to know what a limiter does, and how to set those things to make things sound good.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good room where you have a nice dead sound, where you don't have a lot of ambience, like you can hear a little bit of an echo in this room.
We're working on that.
That'll take a while, and that's getting rid of echo is expensive. There's no way around it. I have a recording booth on the other side of this wall, and there's probably, I don't know, $800 or $1,000 worth of rigid fiberglass insulation to make that room dead, or as dead as I could get it. If you don't have that, use a dynamic microphone rather than a condenser microphone, and get closer to the people so you'll get less room. A roomy sound sounds to people like it's amateurish. They don't necessarily know that what they're hearing is reflections off all the walls.
Right.
But it doesn't sound as professional because when you listen to the radio, you never hear that.
Yeah.
You always hear a nice dead sound. NPR is famous for they record in really dead rooms. Yeah. And they mic reasonably close. I think they mic kind of a little bit far away. But the rooms are so dead, there's no room to it at all.
Yeah.
So, but learning how to use the equipment is probably the most important thing.
Yeah.
Knowing mic placement so you don't have pops in front of the from plosives and stuff into the microphone. That stuff's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Watch a lot of videos on how to record.
Yeah, lots. And practice. Like, I know a lot of times it looks like we're learning as you go, but we've actually spent a lot of time, like, because stuff happens and we're going to learn, we're going to have to, like, troubleshoot.
A lot of work. There's a lot of moving parts here.
Yeah, and
stuff gets moved, or just, especially with computers, things spontaneously, it's not going to assign the right audio source to the stream.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
And and so there's a lot of practicing you see that you don't see, that even though you see a lot of our practicing does actually happen. So Lloyd usually asks the question, if you're given control of the podcast, if Stu spontaneously couldn't do the podcast anymore, what would you change and why? But that's not a good question.
Oh, do they really? So I can go back and see how people stab me in the back? Great.
No, yeah. But what they would improve about the podcast? Yes.
What would I improve about the podcast? I don't know.
No, if you spontaneously died, you
If I
wouldn't
spontaneously
improve
died
anything.
and then came back to life and got to take over the podcast,
You'd leave your equipment to me and it would be fine. I don't know, what would you do?
I don't know what I would do if I died.
I know, you don't have to do that.
I'd have to, I'll write down all the passwords and put it in my safe. So at least everyone can get to everything.
Except now none of us will know the password to your safe, and it'll just be in.
No, there's people that know the password to my safe.
Okay, that's probably a good idea.
And you just cut it open with a torch.
Yeah, it'd probably take me about 20 minutes to get all your passwords
I'm
anyway.
cut it open with a torch with a bullet point off.
No, that'd be bad. Rob says, "Where do you get your ideas?" No, it's totally a joke.
The same server off the East Coast.
Host Rob asks, in all seriousness, I'd be curious to hear about problem players that you've had and what kind of player you like to GM the most.
I like proactive players. I like players who understand that yes and from players to GM is just as important as yes and from the GM to the players. I like players that are interested in story and not necessarily the accumulation of wealth and things. That bores me. And this is just my personal preference on what I like, because it's more in line with how I like games to go. But definitely proactivity is the most important.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go make it. We have a bunch of questions in the chat room real quick. So, Stork, I'm going to skip your questions, sorry, because we have a bunch of questions from listeners. Let's see, lots of questions. Where do you see room for improvement in the show? And also, Weasel Creature asks, what is the password for your safe?
I'm not going to give you the password for my safe. Sorry.
So,
what was the other question?
Matsinian, I'm sure I'm...
He had another question before that. What was
where do you see room for improvement in the show?
Since we've moved to streaming, the audio can improve. That's, at this point, probably going to require equipment to do it. Because if I can get inline condensers or compressors for each of the microphones, that would help. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, it's constant. We're constantly looking at ways to improve it.
Yeah.
It's never a static. It's never been a static thing.
No. We have conversations literally between every show, basically, about this needs to be tweaked. We need to fix like how we balance the colors on the screen, or how can we fix the audio, or what can we do to, make things more interesting for the viewers or listeners. All these things. So
continuous improvement.
Yeah, if you have ideas, we're always happy to hear ideas.
I like feedback, even negative feedback, stuff you don't like. Tell me about it.
Yeah, let us know. And you can send us.
And if it's about a person, you can send me a private email and just say this is private.
Oh my God, we hate Kimmy. Please get her off the show. It's totally fine.
I've only got like 12 of those.
Oh, okay. So that's not too bad.
It hasn't hit the threshold where I need to talk to you about it.
No, okay. That's good. Have there been any, this is also from Rob on the forum, has there been any characters that you have GM'd that you use for characters as NPCs in other games?
I don't think so. In my GURPS days, I may have. I think I may have had Bill's halfling raised by orc barbarian show up as an NPC, maybe. But
it's not something you do very often.
No.
Okay, interesting.
Players' characters belong to the players.
Yeah. In the chat room, Tia Matt Inen asks, how do you feel for the journalism major to be interviewed?
I just try to make it as hard for it as I can.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm used to dealing with middle schoolers, so it's really it's not even on the scale of difficult.
Interviewing someone is hard.
Yeah.
And
you guys do all the hard work, though. That's why I like this show. You guys come.
Well, coming up with questions is tough. I mean, it takes a lot of research. You have to know someone really well and what they want to talk about, because if you're not talking about something that's interesting to them, they can be boring as fuck.
Yeah.
I'll show you. Watch. Go ahead.
Damn it! See what you've done. I blame you. Let's see. Root Alert in the chat room says, Stubert, how did you get into music at the Renaissance fairs, and what prompted you to start the Poxy Boggards?
I got into music at the Renaissance fairs. I was working at the library at Cal State Long Beach when I was a student there, and my boss at the library ran a singing group called Good Company that performed at the Renaissance Fair. And one day he's singing the bass line to a madrigal I had learned in high school, and I start singing along with him. And he's like, "You sing?" Like, "Oh yeah." And I knew many of the songs that they did in their show I had learned in high school, because you learn a lot of madrigals in choir in high school. At least back then. I don't know if they do anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's like karaoke.
Yeah.
We actually had to learn music.
Yeah.
But I eventually ended up, I was working at McDonnell Douglas after college, and he would always bug me saying, "Hey, you got to come audition. And when I got laid off from McDonnell Douglas, because I was working nights, I couldn't do it, because they had rehearsals, like the rehearsal day I was at work.
Right.
So when I got laid off from there and I got a day job, I said, "Yeah, I'll audition." I auditioned and went and joined it. And then at the end of the first fair season, before the next Christmas season, they told me that we're not going to do fair anymore. And I'm like, I hate Christmas carols. I was also a Christmas caroler, so I had to learn like 4 hours of Christmas carols out of book.
Yeah.
I knew like all 4 verses of Silent Night plus 2 in German. And all these obscure songs.
Were they different verses in German, or were they the same verses but in German?
Well, I don't know.
You don't remember?
I don't understand German.
Okay.
But and as soon as that happened, I told them, well, I'm probably going to quit and go do something else. And they got kind of shitty with me. Like, okay, whatever. So I went and auditioned for Country Matters, which was the other stage show singing group at Fair. Simultaneously, I started the Boggards with Bill, and there were originally 6 of us. So we said, if we don't pass our audition and get the Boggards into Fair, I can at least get in through Good Company or Country Matters. So and we got in. So I was doing 6 shows a day, which is kind of hell.
Yeah.
That's how I got to do it.
That's crazy. Verk in the chat room says, "Do you play any games that aren't streamed?"
Not right now.
Yeah.
No.
Let's see.
Because right now we're looking for content. It says, why would you play if you're not streaming?
I know. Well, I'm playing in a couple games that aren't streamed, but it's like, because those people don't want to, I keep trying to convince them.
Right.
So the one we started today, the Powered by the...
That's a lot of pressure.
It is.
It really is, especially for GMs, because you're under a freaking microscope.
Right, but also, I mean...
You gotta have tough skin to do it.
Yeah, and as players, like, I mean, there's a lot of really fun players I know out there that wouldn't necessarily translate well to streaming.
Sure.
So it's like, because they're not super facial, they don't have great facial expressions or something like that, or, great audio, inflection and things like that, they've come off as flat, even though they're a great player. So it's kind of a hard mix, and that's
I killed them, all of them. The women, the children.
Yeah. All right, they're all talking about how funny all our laughs are on the show right now. Let's see. Oh my gosh, now they're just... Sir Guido wants to know, why do you spell your name wrong?
I don't.
It's an easy question. Do you have a Tim Hortons donut shop in the area? And if so, will you be getting a Pontine donut on Canada Day, July 1st?
Donut?
July 1st, I guess they're having them. I've never heard of Tim Hortons donuts.
We don't have Tim Hortons here. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Well, we might, but I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Is that another name for Winchell's or Dunkin' Donuts?
I think so.
Or Dippity Donuts?
I don't know. We'll Google it. We'll find out. What are some of the positive RPG trends you see today? That's by Mook in the chat room, or in the forum. Sorry.
I like the narrative move because I like narrative.
Yeah.
I like the fact that yes and is now being ingrained into the rules set. I think that's awesome.
I actually have, when I was coaching at Nerdstrong Gym, there was actually a guy who had a D20, and underneath it, it was a tattoo. He said, yes, and. It's like literally being tattooed into the culture, which is great.
Inside of our eyelids, all of us.
All of us.
What else do you ask?
So what are the RPG trends you see today, and also negative? What are some of the negative things?
I don't know if there's any negative trends. I think that we are... There's a bandwagon about Powered by the Apocalypse games right now. Because it is... It seems, I haven't done it, it seems like a lot less work to write a Powered by the Apocalypse based game on something. Obviously, it takes some consideration to come up with the moves and stuff like that. than to try to come up with your own unique system.
Right.
And I mean, you're not going to make a system that's completely unique. You're going to be borrowing stuff because there's a lot of stuff that's already been done by a lot of different people.
Right.
But I think that it is. I think 5 years from now, this I kind of look at what's going on with Powered by the Apocalypse, sort of like what happened during the D20 boom when the OGL came out. It's like everyone and his brother-in-law are suddenly making D&D supplements.
Yeah.
And it's like, would those people who are making those that are basically trying to get a quick buck, would the community and them be better served if they'd come up with something unique on their own that was different and maybe evolved the game, the hobby, rather than being a derivative off of something.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if necessarily piggybacking, because I mean there's a lot of work that goes into doing Powered by the Apocalypse hacks,
right.
But and there are some that do have some innovation in mechanics and stuff like that. I mean, I've seen that. I just picked one up that's like I thought it was a Legend of the Five Rings game, but it's not. It's actually more based on like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. But there's some innovative stuff in it. But I just wonder if there would be more innovation if people weren't relying on that basic rule set.
Right. Well, I think that's the most intimidating part, and you could probably speak to this more.
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, coming up with your own mechanics.
Oh. Yeah.
Thank you for that eloquent answer there, Stu.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt.
Absolutely.
And there are many times when I'm doing, I'm like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
There's tons of games I could just
doing
play.
This? Yeah. Do you have any, also continuing from Mook on the forum, do you have any predictions or thoughts about the future of GURPS?
I think it's going to die.
Really?
I do.
Why?
I don't know if it'll ever actually completely die, but I think the level of support it's going to get from Steve Jackson Games compared to what their other way more lucrative things are going to get, and this is I'm shooting in the dark, but it seems to me they're going to be relying more on fan-generated content. You can see that happening with D&D too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's expensive to pay artists and authors to write material and then print up thousands and tens of thousands of books and publish them in the hopes that they're going to sell.
Yeah.
I mean, how many supplements have they come out with for D&D? 4 or 5, maybe? But then they have that thing on Drive-Thru RPG. I can't remember what they call it. They got a name for it. It's GM's Guild or something like that.
Yeah.
DM's Guild or whatever it's called. Where people are just publishing adventures and supplements and rule supplements and all kinds of stuff. And I think you're going to see Steve Jackson Games may move to that kind of a model.
Yeah.
Where publishing, and it's much cheaper to publish something for PDF because you don't have to warehouse a bunch of books and also pay someone to print them
and ship them and all those things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's still. I mean, the production costs up until printing are probably very similar, but I would imagine a lot of the big names in RPGs are going to start moving in that direction, just because out of finances they kind of have to, because there's so much competition now.
Yeah.
I mean, literally at this point, anyone with a computer and a word processor and the ability to make PDFs can publish their own game.
Yeah, and is competition.
And have worldwide distribution through Drive-Thru RPG.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see.
So it may not necessarily die, but I do think it's going to end up being mostly fan-supported. I hope it doesn't go the way of Hero, because Hero kind of... they're trying, but I mean, Hero at this point is like a one-man shop, or like a two-man shop, and there's not like I mean, I don't know how many people they had before. I don't think they were ever huge, but if you look at the size of those books, that's not just one guy sitting on this typewriter. I mean, that's huge effort, and the 6th edition books were very well edited. That doesn't happen with one guy. No one can edit themselves that well because it's just too hard.
Yeah. When non-gamers first learn about your gamer pedigree, how do you explain RPGs to them in a way that they understand?
I tell them, well, if they add, the short answer is we play role-playing games, which are basically games like D&D, because everyone knows what D&D is.
Yeah.
But if I'm talking to someone like trying to sell them on, hey, you should try this, I tell them it's like sitting around playing theater improv but there's rules.
Yeah.
And dice.
Yeah.
And potato chips.
Lots of potato chips. Yeah, no, that's a great description of it. And Sployd in the forum says, where do you see the podcast going in the next year?
I would like for there to be more content nights.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the ability to do that by myself.
Right.
I mean, I would like to see Saturday night APs. Depending on what's going on, Kurt's game maybe might be a Saturday night game.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, I don't know. I mean, I've toyed with the idea of having like a gaming news thing that's like very short, like a 10-minute thing that comes out once a week. There's not that much news in the RPG hobby to even warrant that.
Right.
I mean, unless you're going to... I don't want to just say, oh, these people have books out, or these people have Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Because that's not news.
No.
That's PR.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's something that we're slowly trying to work towards with training more of the hosts and how to run the system and things like that, so it's not you or I every night.
Right. I would love to... We need an intern. An unpaid intern.
If you want to be that intern, apply on the forum. Yeah, and we've talked about also with like Bill is moving away and things like that, and maybe running some online games.
Right.
So nobody has to leave the house, maybe doing some sort of like a D20 model like
Although
a lot of other streamers do.
Internet connection is running
that's
that with
fixed.
Skype.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's the first thing. And that's actually something a lot of people on the forum, there's actually a discussion about having more guests on the podcast. Assuming that
we're set up for Skype now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one wire I need to remember where it plugs into. But once I figured that out, because we had a game where Bill was out of town.
Right. And
it worked fine.
Yeah.
I set the whole thing up and didn't have to troubleshoot anything. I just plugged everything in, turned it on, and look, it's
worked
working.
the first time. That was not expected.
No, it was not.
No.
But, I mean, we have the ability to do that.
The only problem is they can't see us. We can see them, but they can't see us.
Right. And the other thing is, interview shows are... You gotta be careful.
Not interview shows, but like where they participate, like in the conversation, like when we've had like
Yeah,
Angry
that's
GM.
that's what I...
Yeah.
But a lot of people just want to be interviewed, and they want to they have a book
Yeah.
to slog, and they just want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And
A Kickstarter. All right.
is it back in?
Now it looks like we're back. We lost it for a second.
Okay.
Oh God, no. Yeah. So
I like the Angry GM.
Yeah.
I think he's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
And
he keeps us on our toes.
and
that's
he's
for sure.
smart.
He's very smart. The risk of having people who are not part of like the Happy Jacks, and we even sometimes get that from people who listen to us regularly, and are like, "Oh, that one time you gave an opinion that was different than mine. I'm never listening again."
Oh, sure. And I've had people complain. There've been hosts that we have on once in a while who I think are very entertaining. Who that someone says, "Oh, they had this," and now there was like someone who commented about like unsubscribed from the Patreon.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, they haven't been on since we started the Patreon.
Yeah.
That has to be like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So who knows?
They're listening to the backlog, and suddenly they get really irate about something from like 4 or 5 years
Right.
ago. You're like, we literally have no control over that now. Skip ahead.
And actually, one of the things that might change, getting back to what things happening in the future, I'm waiting for the axe to drop when it comes to hosting, because we use a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah, we're having a lot of content now.
And I'm when that hammer falls.
Wait, no sound? They're saying we have no sound. No, we definitely have sound.
Oh, maybe they're not getting it because of the stream. Maybe the stream's being itchy.
Maybe. They say it's working fine. Some other people are saying it's working fine for them.
Oh yeah, try refreshing.
Yeah, try refreshing if you don't have sound. You can't hear us say that, but
You can say it. You type it. You can type it in the thing.
I will. They're saying it already.
But if that hammer falls, I may have to start taking the old back, because if I have to get media hosting, it's expensive, and to transfer everything over is going to cost thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to do that.
No.
So what it will probably, if that happens, what's probably going to happen is the backlog is going to go away until I can figure out somewhere to host it for free.
Right.
I'm not going to transfer everything over.
No, that's going to be crazy.
Because it literally will cost thousands.
Right.
I looked into it with I don't remember if it was Blueberry or one of the other ones, and they gave me a quote. This is years ago. This is like 5 years ago, and it was $700 then to transfer all of the content.
And if our hosting stops, it's still available on like iTunes and stuff like that, right?
No, that's all hosted through us.
Okay.
It's all hosted through
I
us.
didn't realize that.
And I have what's called a merchant level account, so they don't really give you much grief. But if I have to switch to actual media hosting, the backlog obviously I'll save the backlog, I'll archive it somewhere. But putting it on archive.org is a pain in the ass. It takes forever.
Yeah.
Each episode is like a 10 or 15 minute process.
Oh, okay.
But it'll probably, most of it will go away. I'll probably only keep a season up.
Forrest in the chat room's like, then you could just sell it for $1 like Hardcore History does.
Hey, there you go. They sell it on iTunes.
Yeah.
The problem is it's a song, so and Dan Carlin's long-winded motherfucker. So he'll do a thing on something, and it'll be 5 hours long, and it's one song on iTunes. So you play it, I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Get back in the car, and starts from the beginning again.
Oh, that sucks.
Because it's not a podcast, and it's not set up to do that.
All right. Well, I think we've gotten to the end of our questions on the forum, and I haven't seen any new questions in the chat room for a while. They're talking about lots of stuff. So I think we might have come to an end. So just about 2 hours, so pretty good.
Encode it like an audiobook. I don't know how to get audiobooks published.
Oh,
I know how to get songs published. But he doesn't do them as audiobooks. He does them as songs.
Wow. That's interesting. Cool. Well, Forrest, if you know how to encode it like an audiobook, send us some information on that.
I'm sure it's going to get published through them somehow. I don't know how.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We'll probably have Stu back someday in the future, I'm sure.
And if you have more questions for me.
Oh, that's a good question. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop real quick. Oh my God, we suddenly have all these questions now that we're closing. They always do this.
Well, then do it next 2 weeks.
Save it? Okay. Well, I like this one though. Question, what's on your bucket list? From Zach and SC.
I don't have a bucket list.
You don't have a bucket list?
No, not really. I mean, no, I don't really have a bucket list.
Okay. And Verk says, question, what do SoCal Happy Jacks listeners need to do to be on the show? Only half kidding. Come to a convention and hang out with us.
Yes.
That is literally, like, many a host has been made that way. That's where we met. Well, I knew Nick from Saving Throw Show, but he's now on our Tomorrow Legion Savage Worlds Rifts AP.
Yeah, he's funny too.
Yeah, he's super funny. But I mean, that's sort of the first time we hung out with him for like an extended period of time, as we kind of knew who he was. And then he came and hung out with us at a con.
But yeah, a lot of it is people I meet at cons.
Yeah, because I mean, all of this stuff is done through our houses, so it's not like, hey, stranger, we're going to invite you to our home.
Exactly.
So we have to hang out with you and drink with you a little bit. So. Oh, sorry.
There's an ordeal you have to go through.
There's a whole like hazing thing. Question: have you changed your opinion of war games since you picked up Team Yankee? Side question: what's your opinion of war games outside of Suspender Row?
I was always a fan of Starfleet Battles by Task Force Games. Never won, but I enjoy it. I have yet to actually play Team Yankee. All I've done is fucking paint minis, and I've actually stopped. I've stopped painting minis. It's like, okay, I've painted a shitload of them. I'm taking a break from this because my neck is starting to hurt.
Yeah.
But I want to play it. Maybe even we can do it here at this very table at some point in the future.
You just have to paint all the minis.
I just have to, well, I have enough. I believe I have enough painted to actually field some sort of military unit.
Nice.
I think I have enough infantry and I don't have. I only have Russian infantry or Soviet infantry painted right now. But if I get NATO infantry painted, I will have enough stuff to actually build a game.
Nice. Awesome.
A simple scenario.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, we're going to end there. If you have more questions, we'll have Stu on in the future. We're going to continue with Happy Jack's Hot Seat every other Wednesday for the foreseeable future. It's taking the place of prime time for a while. I'll be announcing on the forum ahead of time and also on the happyjacks.org/schedule.
Give them a couple weeks rather than a day.
They had a couple days this time. They had like 2 pages. We were almost out of time, and we just barely finished all their questions.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I know. See, then I end up with like 4 pages of stuff, and then we never get done.
You can edit through and find the good ones.
I like all their questions. All their questions are relevant. Okay, you run the show then, Stu. You run the show.
No way. I haven't been
But you can join our forum at happyjacks.org/forum, and you can write in questions. You can also, we have a bunch of forums based on different systems there. We have forums so you can talk about the regular podcast show, the extra shows like Happy Jacks Hot Seat, and also all our APs that you can chat about stuff.
A GM sounding board.
GM sounding board. Also forums to find a game, whether you want to play online or whether you're looking for an in-person group. We have forums for that as well. So even if you ignore everything we do and just find your own games, that's super cool. And yeah, check out happyjacks.org/schedule for our streaming schedule, so you know.
Or schedule if you live in England.
Anyway, yeah, check out there for our streaming schedule. We have a new subscribe button, which we just got today. So subscribe to this channel. There's also a Discord channel that's completely run by Happy Jacks fans, and that I don't know. It's not. Is it happyjacks.org/discord? Did you
I
set
have
that
no
up?
idea. I don't even know
that
what
up?
Discord is. No, I didn't set it up.
Okay, no, that does not work.
So a listener said
That's
it.
a lie. But I'll try and make that actually work. But there's a Discord channel for Happy Jacks that you can find. I believe they talked about that in the forum too. So,
and apparently a subreddit.
Which is like 4 people. I'm one of the people who subscribe to that, and there's not really anything that's happening there.
r/happyjacks, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So make that happen too. Yeah. And so yeah, subscribe. Do the subscribing thing or follow. So thank you guys, and we will talk to you later. Bye.
Get out.
The preceding program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire.